Välkommen till Tro Under från Mediemission International den här fredagskvällen ännu en gång. Vi är jättetacksamma att du finns med och ikväll har vi ett hyperintressant program. Vi har alltid intressanta program med intressanta gäster och eftersom vi rör oss i stora delar av världen och får höra rapporter om vad Gud gör. Men ikväll så kommer vi tala om någonting som definitivt kommer att röra vid ditt hjärta, som är helt fascinerande, och det är Israel. Innan vi går in och talar om Israel så vill jag bara tacka dig, du som står med i vårt arbete. Hela organisationen, Mediemission International, är jätteglada. Mediemission är ju en dotterorganisation till IRR-TV som har sin bas i Finland, och det är där vi producerar våra program. Det finns fantastiska människor som jobbar här, ett 50-tal. Fantastiska tekniker och studiopersonal. Och, det är ett sånt fantastiskt arbete som vi får vara en del av. Och jag vill att du ska känna det, att vi är så tacksamma, och vi behöver mycket förböner, vi behöver mycket ekonomiska resurser också, men framförallt böner. Och du som ger och en trogen givare, du ska veta det att vi är otroligt tacksamma. So tonight we will talk about Israel, and we have two guests in the studio. It's an honor to have Hanna Hauka here this night also. It's a privilege to have you. And also Pirjo Kartonen, welcome.
Thank you.
You are well known for the Swedish viewer because you are Israel. You're burning for Israel, you and your husband, and you have been in this in our mission work. You have special responsibility and heart for Israel. And as we have said before, Israel is always touching the Swedish people in a profound way. I know that we will talk some very, very interesting things, but before we start to talk about that, we will see a clip from a summit, a global summit. It's a leadership gathering in...
It was Media Summit.
It's in Media Summit in Israel, just recently, some days ago, I think.
Yes, yes, we could.
So we will take a short clip and we'll be back. Welcome back to the studio. This was a clip from the summit, Media Summit in Israel, and you were there.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we were there, and it was called Christian Media Summit, but it was not organized by Christian. It was organized by the Government Press Office of Israel and Foreign Minister. They invited, and this was already the second time. Last year there was the first one, and this was the second time. They invited from several Christian media workers around the world. I think it was from 40 countries.
Oh, so much.
And around 200 people, selected people who they wanted to invite, because Israel sees that it's very important to have Christians, because we are usually who support Israel in this information war, and so they need us, and we need them. So
was it in Israel, in Tel Aviv, or in Jerusalem?
No, it was in Jerusalem.
In Jerusalem.
Yes.
And we were one of those who was invited.
Yes, as Peter said, there were 200 delegates. I think there was at least 2 from Sweden and a few from Norway.
Yeah.
Yes.
Danish people there also, and of course from Estonia. But I think from Finland we had 7.
Yes, 7 or 8, I think. Yes. Yes.
So, I mean, this is very interesting because we're living in a very special time in many, many ways. We'll come to that. But what was the main purpose Hannu, with this invitation?
The main purpose was, if you summarize what Prime Minister Netanyahu said in one sentence, please tell the world the truth.
Yes. And Netanyahu was there.
He was the main speaker for the first night, and he opened the conference by addressing 200 media people, and he said, when you go back home, tell the truth, tell the whole story about what is happening in Israel and in what is happening in the Middle East. That was his big message.
Because there is a problem, as I understand, and we know that about fake news.
Yes.
So the fake news was something he really lifted up and tried to say that, come with the truth story.
Yes. That is a true, especially in Middle East and in social media. Social media, it is really strong, you can say, weapon using fake news.
Can you give us some example for the viewers? What is a fake news? I'm very directly now.
There are a lot of fake news there in that sense that, for example, our today's media tell very little about when this from Gaza or from Lebanon, they shoot, first of all, rockets to Israel, and then Israel have to respond.
Yeah.
And then there's a news, Israel attacked Gaza.
Okay.
But they don't tell what happened before that.
So you mean that the journalists and the media, the public media is against Israel, and they are...
Well, the problem is that the mainline media in this country, in Finland, and in Sweden, I think in Norway, in almost every Western democracy, the mainline media, the big television stations, the government TV stations, they have chosen to report on the happenings in Israel and the Middle East from the side of the Palestinians. But that is not true journalism. True journalism says the whole story. There's a reason for a reason, there's a reason for a cause, there's a reason for an action, and they don't say what the reason is. They just report on the bad feelings that obviously the Palestinians will have. Let me give you an example. The Palestinians, Hamas, in the Gaza Strip, they have 10 to 15,000 rockets in their possession right now, along the Israeli border, 15,000. And these rockets, fortunately, are not like accurate, so that when it goes up, it comes down, nobody really knows where. But it's a constant threat. And they shoot first, and then Israel, as Pirjo said, then Israel responds. And what do you see in the press? Israel, as you say, Israel is the aggressor. Israel attacked Hamas, or the Palestinians in Gaza. And if you look at Lebanon, South Lebanon, there are 150,000 rockets with Hezbollah right now, aimed at Israel. 150,000. Israeli intelligence has the facts. And what is happening now, Hezbollah is building an underground factory in Beirut, underground factory where they are converting the missiles that they now have, which are not accurate, converting them to guided ballistic missiles. The missile will go up and it will be guided to its target very accurately. And Israel has said, we cannot let this happen. Our nation is in danger. So when we attack, first missile that comes, they will attack, and they will shoot the missile, the rocket launchers, the missiles. They will destroy them. Problem is, there are thousands of homes in southern Lebanon, and inside these homes, they have the rockets and the missiles. So when the war starts, they open the roof and they go. And Israel needs to destroy them. And when Israel goes to destroy the rockets, unfortunately, because they are in private homes, civilian peoples will be killed. And Israel said, you need to tell that part of the story. Either they kill us or we have to destroy their weapons.
So Netanyahu was there, and his mission was tell the world about the fake news.
About the fake news, and also about this tendency that today, like UNESCO and so are doing, that actually Jewish people has nothing to do in Israel, and that is more Muslim or Arab origin. And he just said that you just take a shovel and you little bit dig down the ground, and you see straight away, almost on every step, all this historical evidence about Jewish people being there already thousands of years, and no evidence of Arabs being there before then.
But UNESCO said.
Yes.
Yeah, they have passed a resolution saying that the temple has nothing to do, the Temple Mount has nothing to do with the Jewish people. So it's actually a Muslim deal from the UNESCO side. They also talk about history, and they say Mr. Arafat, actually at Camp David with President Bill Clinton, he was the one that introduced the Temple Mount. What we say?
To Clinton, they were talking about Clinton.
For Clinton and Arafat, they were talking, and Arafat said that the Temple Mount is not. I mean, it's not. It's never. Or that Solomon's temple has not been here. It's in Nablus or it's in Yemen.
Arafat said that.
But it's not here. It's not here. Clinton told him then. He said, if you keep talking like that, you will make the Israelis furious, the Christians of the world furious, and you will endanger the negotiations here. But now UNESCO, many years later, has taken the issue again, and they have resurrected it. And now they are saying, yeah, the Jewish people have no connection with Israel, Jerusalem. So
what is there? I mean
now if that is fake news.
Yeah, that's a big fake news. But I mean, when the Israelites hear that and know that, how do they react?
How do they react? Of course, they know the truth, and then how do we as a nation react? Of course, Netanyahu speaks out, and then minister speaks out, and then we all know what is the fact. So how do you react on that? Yeah.
It must be a hard situation for the people, of course, the nation.
Yeah, well, let me help Piri out here just a little bit. The advisor to the president, it was Ariel Sharon, and then later on to Netanyahu. He was in the Camp David meetings when he heard Arafat speak like this. And he said, all you need to do is just open your history books and read from the Roman conquest of Israel. In the Roman records, historical records, they speak of the destruction of the Jewish temple. All you have to do is just go back in history and you will know the truth. And it totally destroys UNESCO's resolutions about no connection.
But it started already when Israel got independent in 1948. Mr. Weizmann, who became then the first president of Israel, United Nations asked him a document that can show that Israel belongs to Israel. It is a country for Jewish people. And he took a Bible and he said, here, it's all written. This is the document, which you cannot deny. And well, that was enough, in that time.
It was enough.
In that time, of course, there was this United Nations. They were
voted.
Yeah, they voted for that, and so. But anyway.
But now UNESCO came with this. Has it recently come with this?
Oh, that was recent.
Yeah, but why do you think it's come right now? Is it a reason?
Yeah, there is. First of all, UNESCO is a UN body that is dominated by the Muslim countries. And when they vote, the Muslim countries are able to get the majority. And so any resolution that is proposed is also accepted. And that's why UNESCO has become a dangerous kind of arena for fake news, because it's very one-sided. It only speaks on behalf of the Muslims. It does not take into consideration Israel. And so UNESCO is discrediting itself when it does these things. That's one of the reasons why the the United States pulled out of UNESCO. And Israel is doing the same. They're pulling out of it. They're leaving. Only for this reason, that they are not acting responsibly with the news.
So during this summit, they talked about a lot of understand media and how to expose the fake news and the situation in this world. But what about the spiritual side of it? Because the Jews has to be saved to receive Jesus Christ, and you know, this is a big issue in Sweden, because some people, as I know, in Sweden say the Jews don't have to be saved because they are the people of God. But of course, the Jews has to be saved by Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and that's what Paul said. He said there's no difference between a Jew and a Gentile. He says everybody needs the grace of God and the forgiveness. But interestingly, in this summit, we didn't hear too much about missionary work, obviously. But it was interesting to note that on the last day, the president, President Rivlin of Israel, he hosted all the delegates, about 200 people, at his residence in Jerusalem. He offered us, lunch. But when we gathered in the hall, for the meeting, he walked in. And before he walked in, of course, all of us were sitting down. And so we tried to sing a few Hebrew songs, Heveinu Shalom Aleichem and so on. But then we ran out of songs to sing as we waited for the president to step in. And somebody in the audience says, well, because we are Christians, why don't we sing Amazing Grace?
Yes.
And so everybody started to sing Amazing Grace as the Israeli president walked in.
Wow. Yeah, you saved a wretch like me.
Saved a wretch like me.
Yeah.
Wow. I was once blind, but now I see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And so for that to happen.
Yeah.
Sounds like prophetically.
For the head of state to walk in that, under that music and that song, it was kind of like very interesting.
Yeah.
It seems like Netanyahu is a man with a humble heart when I hear you describe him.
Yeah.
It's near the people and near his own country in some way.
Yes, it is. And they value our Christians. And that is that, and they love. They see that they need us. Mm-hmm. And also it's for us, it is an honor that they turn straight away to us that we can tell the news. Mm. But of course, it is in a certain level when we talk about Messianic Jews, and so it's another question.
Yeah, I understand that.
But I think I see it, and I hope that this kind of media summits they also help the way that Israel start accepting Jesus-believing Jewish people. Yeah. And slowly on it.
Can I just talk about something we forgot to mention, and that is the IT technology of Israel.
Yeah.
Right now, out of 200 nations, Israel has relations in one form or another with 160 nations. People don't know that. I mean, our media doesn't talk about that.
No.
So most of the world's countries, they have some kind of relations with Israel, trade, be it intelligence, trade, military, whatever. And the big one, the big chunk of it is IT. Israel, I think it was last year, they had $6 billion in startup companies in 1 year, which is, by ratio, it's by far the greatest amount of any nation on earth. More than Europe, the European Union combined in one small nation.
Wow.
It tells you of the know-how and the technology and the level of know-how in Israel. Yeah. And they have been blessed in this way.
Top of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And almost every country wants to have some Israelis working in their top companies, especially IT.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would like to add that there's this BDS movement, and I think it's also in Sweden is launching very strongly, is getting in there, and it is already there. This boycott, this investment.
Yeah, disinvestment.
Sorry for my going. And a sanctions movement. And but it is, I think it's ridiculous because anyway, the same people who are talking about this BDS and so they use the techniques that is developed in Israel. So that is
like Sweden.
I heard
it for years in Sweden. Friends of mine also said we have to boycott Israel because they're non-Christian. We have to boycott that. We don't have to. I said, stop using your smartphone. Stop using your computer. Stop using drive your car. Israel is everywhere.
For example, like in the last program, Hani showed you the Mega Voice unit. On the backside is the solar panel. These solar panels are made in Israel. And they have massive solar panel fields nowadays around the world. With the IT technology taking the maximum energy out of the solar panels. That's just one example.
I mean, if you notice, you're a Swedish Nobel Prize. If you see how many men and women from Israel has received the Nobel Prize as a so small country. You'll understand everything.
Again, we were on a field trip. We went to Hebrew University in Jerusalem on Mount Scopus. They said that out of Hebrew University, they have received 9 Nobel Prizes. One university.
And this is IT technology, but there's also agriculture. Israel is a leading country. They are teaching, for example, in Africa, where it's very dry, about this water system and in India and China, all around the world, where the problem is this is the dry land and especially now in climate change. And so Israel is a very leading country, teaching other countries.
I think we as a Scandinavian media mission organization here in Finland and the link to Sweden, we have a responsibility also to take this. Yes. I mean, the fake news, to expose them here, and we have a responsibility. So this is not a non-spiritual question, it's a highly spiritual question, because Israel is Israel. And I mean, I said to Hanno before we started the program, it would be an honor to have the President Netanyahu in the program together with Hanno.
with actually, I'd be Morgan.
And just sit and talk, you know, it would be, because this must come out. And in Sweden, in the public service, in the newspaper, we cannot read anything about the fake news.
I interviewed this Israel International Media Branch of Israel Army, IDF, and I asked him, what is your message? What would you like to forward to tell to us? And he said that the most important thing is that, like Hannu already mentioned, that you tell the whole truth, that often Christians, it's not also correct every time that they just bless Israel, whatever Israel is doing, and but also to tell the correct news, tell the both sides, the whole truth. We can criticize Israel when it makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, but
we bless Israel.
We bless Israel, but with this political and this military actions, and so we can just use our brains also, and not to be blind. But we must be eyes open for both sides.
That's very important.
He said that is important for us, and that helps them the most.
Someone said to me some years ago that also we're talking about the high tech and the IT and developing Israel is everywhere. That they have the most high tech and the most powerful aircraft and anti-missile system and so on. That's true.
It's true. They have. It's called the Iron Dome.
Yes.
Yeah, Iron Dome.
And it's true. It's something that is very unique. And they are able to shoot down many of the missiles that come from either the Hezbollah side in Lebanon or from Gaza, which has been, of course, it's been a great breakthrough and a victory for Israel to have that system.
And now they have also this similar like Iron Dome underground that they can beforehand see where the tunnels are. So that's
So when we talk about this is not we don't talk about the mission work to evangelize, but this is very important. It's also a task for prayer. That the Swedish Christian understand that there is fake news, and we have to pray for the right view of Israel also, to bless Netanyahu and the whole government.
And when it comes to Israel, we don't always, and we seldom talk about the politics, and we seldom talk about the secular media, because there's so much to talk about in missions for Israel. And Pirjo, she has the whole story. You probably won't have time in this program, but next program she should talk about what they are really doing, in regards to the gospel, bringing it to the Jews in Russia, in Ukraine, around Finland, and in Israel. She has a very great story.
We heard some of that in the previous program, but we'll come back to you, Pirjo, because Israel is always touching our hearts, and especially the Swedish Christians are crazy about Israel. Everybody has an opinion about Israel.
That's true.
Even in the church.
And we should remember that this is a special Jubilee year. State of Israel is just celebrated in May, and actually the whole year, 70 years of independence, and about the embassies are moving first the United States and then other countries also. So Jerusalem is getting more and more in focus. And I think that's a prophetic
it is, and we love it.
Yes.
We love it. We will come back, Pirjo and Hanno, with Israel, because it's always touching our hearts. And vi vill säga till dig, du som är våra supporter och som är med i vår missionsfamilj, att fortsätta be för Israel och fortsätta be för de initiativ som ligger i pipeline i vårt arbete. Pirjo och Kartunen och hennes man och hela vårt arbete har en del i Israel, och we have seen a good fruit there. what we are doing. So thank you for coming for this program once again. And vi vill fortsätta be för Israel, och du ska veta att vi älskar dig, du är omtyckt, vi räknar med dig. Och innan vi slutar programmet så vill jag att du ska veta att vi har en tidning som heter Medidimension. Här har ett exemplar som kom här nu senast i juni. Och på baksidan här så har du talonger. Om du redan har tidningen så se till att du går in på vår hemsida och prata med din granne, din vän kanske, eller beställ 20-30x och skicka in talongen, så ska du få information. Allt det vi gör, allt det som finns i pipeline, det finns i den här tidningen. Och du har vårt 90-konto på skärmen som är 900307-0. Och du kan swisha från din smartphone som är 12345 48822. Så vi önskar dig det bästa vi kan ge dig, och det är Guds rika välsignelse. Så ses vi. Tack!